We are so excited to have this young lady with us. We have been talking about her. We have been playing, well, he's been playing her every day. And I've been telling other radio people about this young lady. When you get a song that is so powerful and so anointed and is fresh for gospel,
Oh my,
you have to go
yes. So
tell it on the mountain. So ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know her, you've heard her before if you've been listening to GLD Radio One morning show and the afternoon show. This is none other than Kim Kinney Green. Good morning, good morning.
hi, good morning, you all. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm sorry that you're not feeling well, but I'm glad we're looking at you and that you're here in the studio and all of that. And it's just a pleasure to be here. Thank you all so much.
Okay, well, I wanted to start off by I just need to get my beef out, and once
You
I
got a
get,
beef today?
I
Even
got,
even in sickness, he got a beef.
yeah, I got
Y'all pray for deliverance on
I,
Friday.
I got a beef with this song. Yes,
Mm-mm-mm.
Oh,
child.
Mm.
The program director had you in rotation, and she heard it, and she said, "Oh, this gonna be a good one." I stumbled on you. I stumbled because she has her hot list that she puts into the system, and I stumbled onto this song. And when they said that you fall and you fall hard, this song has been in my rotation almost every day ever since. I had to go tell the program director, look, we need to add a little bit more to it. We started sharing it. We was on the road, both Robert and I. We were on the road to Pasadena, and I requested the song to be put on, and then everybody in the car was like, "Oh my, who is it? Girl, you got you something with this song."
thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. It's, just an amazing um, journey so far. Since we've released it, I think we're coming up on 30 days, I think a month, and just the response has been absolutely incredible. It's extremely just humbling, but yet heartwarming. This is a song that I wrote in high school,
Wow.
in math class.
Hmm.
Uh,
Wow.
and I had gotten everything done, and we were in study hall, and I had a conversation with, at the time, some friends of mine who were just kind of just, I was like a, what do they call them? Like a holy roller, I guess, in high school. I was just like, I was a Pentecostal kid, church kid,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just different. And people were bombarding me with questions about God and all of this. And at the time, when you're young, I didn't feel like I had all of the philosophical answers to their questions,
Mm-hmm.
of why I'm a Christian, why am I saved, why do I love God, why, all of these things. And I was just like, my heart just says yes to him. Like, now looking back, and I'm a young woman in my 30s, and, I could easily answer these questions. But then at the end of the day, God just wants our heart. He just wants a relationship with us. And so this is a song that I wrote then. I released then on an album that I wrote. I wrote this song and produced it with a friend of mine he's now deceased, was my MD for many, many years. And we released this on my very first album when I was 19. And then, I went to college and I went on, and God brought this song back to my heart, as I came back, and it's like, I'm ready to, get my music and get my gospel side. I've been doing a lot in the classical world, and in the world of academia, and the Lord was calling me back into ministry. And this was the first song 2 years
Oh,
ago, when I sent this out, and we were going through with my team of like, what is the music, and people pulled back this song from that I wrote in high school. And so we updated it, we freshened it up, put some 2024 gloss on it, but the words and the lyrics and the melody are the exact same as I wrote it when I was 17.
okay. So
Wow.
so so hold on, wait a minute. First of all, it says Kim Kinney. Now, did you just recently get married, or what's going on?
No, I've been married for 3 years, so I guess that is kind of recent.
Okay.
But um, I established my entire, vocal career, my career in academia, before I got married. And my husband is also, he's a conductor. He's also in music and education and all of
Wow.
that. And so, yeah, we got hitched
Okay.
3 years ago.
Okay.
We met and got hitched, and I told the Lord it was going to take a global pandemic for me to find a husband, but that's what happened. I
Well,
found, met and dated my husband in the pandemic, and boom,
okay. So
here we
And she
are.
didn't catch COVID. Look at
yeah.
God.
Well, I
I
don't know. They
didn't.
might have catch COVID
She
together.
said she didn't.
You
Hallelujah.
didn't catch
I
COVID?
didn't catch it.
Okay, well,
Mm-mm.
praise
Praise
the
him.
Lord.
Nope.
So let me
Nope.
ask you. Let's start off from the beginning. Who you be, who your people be, where you're at.
Sure.
Because it sounds like you've been in this way a mighty long time, and you said Pentecostal. You wouldn't happen to be Kojic, would you?
No, no, I grew up apostolic Pentecostal,
Oh,
but
when
I'm
you
from
a
P A
power,
Kentucky.
P A
I got
you a
W.
y'all as
PAW?
cousins. PAW.
Okay,
PAW.
we know about the
We
We
know
PAs.
we
just
know about the PAWs.
Yes,
yeah, Pentecostal and Kojic are pretty much cousins,
yeah,
Pretty much.
Pentecostal cousins.
yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I grew up in the Holiness Church. My father was pastor, district elder. The
Mm-hmm.
traditional, upbringing. I come from a family of ministers, and on one side, and then the other side, I come from a family who is heavily influenced in jazz, um, jazz musicians, and all of that, along the East Coast and down the southern region, the Kennys and the Marcelluses and all of them, on both sides of my family. So I've got, a
Wait a minute,
gospel
hold
church
on,
upbringing.
wait a minute.
Yeah,
Don't be just dropping bombs on everybody and just running through it. We know about the Marcelluses. Come on now, just don't.
yeah. My mama's side, Wynton Marcellus is my cousin.
New
Some
Orleans.
throw out your cousins. That's my cousin. That's my actual cousin. The Marcellus family, on my mother's side, the Martin side,
Mm-hmm.
and on my father's side, the Kennys, they were more instrumentalists, jazz instrumentalists. So my grandfather taught me music theory by opening up the hymn book, and we would go through the hymns, and he would teach me all the Roman numerals. And so he would teach me all the rules, and then he'd teach me how to break all the rules also. So I grew up in a very like balanced, musically balanced uh, palette, if you will. Um, and also because my passion was music, and I wanted to go to college for music. Wasn't no choice. My family was like, "You going to college? Everybody's going to college," and I was like, "I want to do music." So then
Wow.
that's when I got into the classical side. So I began studying opera at 16. Um, Took piano lessons from age 9, 10. Was in classical formal piano, and studied classical voice from when I was 16. Went to college, got my undergrad, full ride scholarship to 6 universities for classical music vocal pedagogy. Um, then went into the field, taught for many years. I started a music school in my hometown, which is Indianapolis, Indiana. I am now residing in Dallas, Texas. Since I've moved and gotten married, my husband's a Texan, and so he was established here. And so I pretty much go between the Midwest and the Southwest pretty consistently. Um, and that's pretty much in a nutshell my life. I have 2 daughters, two beautiful girls, and um, yeah, I
Wait.
think that's me. And
Wow.
I'm trying to cram it
Hold on.
together, like.
You be throwing things out so quickly. But you said you caught a husband or he caught you during COVID, but you didn't catch COVID. So the question comes in: how did y'all connect? Because
Doing COVID.
you just go. No, I'm not just doing COVID, but I'm like, how did
Because we
you?
was shut down.
Yeah, what
We
was
were
going
shut
on?
down. Well, we met a little bit before COVID, and then everything shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were able to reconnect on the Book of Faces, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Come on,
And
Facebook.
we were able to connect there, and really just cultivated a friendship that just developed into to love. But he, traveled down from Texas to Indianapolis to see me. He sure did. We knew it was love. He was coming down
mm-hmm.
driving. I mean, that was like a 12, 13-hour drive. Never asked, never was like, wait a minute, you don't got to make this drive, but he did. He came and he pursued me. The Bible says a man that findeth a wife, he found me.
Uh-huh.
Amen. And so, yeah, that was
She's a
pretty much
church.
it.
She's a
So
church lady.
Because I
I
want
am
to.
a church lady. Isn't
I
that
just want
crazy?
to ask the
You know
question.
what? Born and raised. My
Yeah.
husband too. He's a minister, you know, uh, this is our life: music,
Well,
ministry.
Right.
This is just who we are. But yeah, that's how we connected, because I was so busy, always going, always teaching. Him too,
oh,
going,
wait a minute, I
teaching.
got a question.
Yeah.
Did he try to woo you by writing you a sonata or a little verse or something?
You know what? He's actually a musician.
Mm,
He's a conductor, so he is a head band director. So he leads. He an arts administrator. So he leads a band of about 300 students. He's got a team and all of that over him, and he does marching band, but he is a low brass specialist. His principal instrument was tuba, but he can also play the trombone and the trumpet and the other low brass instruments. And he's an arranger and a really great conductor, in the land of academia. It's black excellence over here in my household.
It
And
really is.
I'm not gonna flex, to God be the glory.
Yes.
But it truly is. But no, he didn't woo me with no sonatas. He can't sing though. That was icing on the cake though, a little bit. But it wasn't even that. It was just his realness and his authenticity. He was not I watched an Aretha Franklin interview and someone asked her, wouldn't you think most males be intimidated by you? And she said, men aren't intimidated
She did
by
say
me.
that. She said that.
Men rise to the occasion. And so that's what he did. He rose to the occasion. He was never intimidated by me. And just in what God has called me to be and who he's called me, what he's called me to do. He has been the most encouraging person along this journey. So no, he didn't woo me. He didn't have to woo me. I don't even like all that extra stuff. He just was himself. He was consistent.
Now,
And that's what
now,
landed that ring on my finger.
now, how did you get connected with Michael Burrell? Because he is a West Coast huge name, and he is known all over the world. But how did you hook
Absolutely.
up with him of all people? Because obviously you with Richard Smallwood because he's more collegially
Absolutely.
trained and Howard University piano, classical piano.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I absolutely love the works of Richard Smallwood, Donald Lawrence. I think he is also someone who I would absolutely love to work with. And I think he comes from that same vein of
Theater,
all of that. Yes,
arts.
absolutely.
Hmm.
So with Mike, a lot of what people don't know, I think about me is that my roots are so heavily gospel.
Hmm.
The classical side uh, came as a byproduct of academia,
Hmm.
of study.
Hmm.
It came as a byproduct of developing my craft, as did the jazz side. I mean, I shared with my family. My family history was background, so I really couldn't get away from it. But there's a really heavy academic approach to jazz and classical music. And so, what's in my roots, what's in my heart, is gospel and soul. And
Yes.
so, and Mike is a amazing musician. I'm a musician as well, and he's someone that I've always watched, followed his work. It's funny because he and I were talking about this yesterday. He was in Dallas, and he was stuck here in Dallas, and I was talking about how excited I am to not only be a colleague uh, of his, but also that I'm a true fan of his work,
Oh yeah.
legitimately.
Hmm.
And a lot of my friends and colleagues, I feel that the same way. I'm a true fan of their work. So I've always followed Mike's work
Hmm.
down through the years, even
Hmm.
though I had never worked with him. My previous MD, his name was Jatan Barnes. Rest in peace to Jatan. Jatan followed heavily his work and his production style. And so, as being his like little sister, Jatan's little sister, I would listen to who he would listen to, and
Right.
I would study. He would study. Um, and so that's how I came familiar with Mike's work and his discography and all that.
Hmm.
And I just flat out reached out to him. I mean, that's just, a few, last year I reached out to him when God put this on my heart. And I said, I really want to make sure that I prayed and I asked God to lead me to the producer that I should have for this project. And
Right.
I think what people know about Mike is that he is so versatile.
Yes. He's
And
approachable.
I had to be with someone who is extremely versatile as well because I sing classical and jazz, but I like gospel. And then I might want to put a little funk element in. I want to do this. And I wanted somebody who has had that same type of experience. So that's how he and I have connected. We've been working together for a little over a year now. And he's just a wonderful guy. Just been great to work with. My husband and I just adore his talent and his professionalism and all of that. So just a great guy. Just great. We got some more stuff coming up, working on and getting together. We've already actually recorded half of my entire album last
Wow.
year. So we just dropping little nuggets as we go and preparing for another live recording this summer. So Mike is a
So,
great guy.
Yes,
That's
he
how we got
is. He
connected.
is.
so I want to ask this question because you are nothing like I thought you were going to be
Oh,
on this interview. I did not think you were going to be so
She's a
talkative and
student.
everything else of that nature. and
Oh,
it's tickling me because I'm like sitting up here like, oh, I got questions, I got questions. So with you and your husband in the
uh,
house, does he talk like you talk, or is he laid back and you're the energy, or is it vice versa, or is it together?
ah, you know, if you ever get to meet Cameron, everyone will say he is a quiet strength.
Mm-hmm.
He is a very quiet strength. He is very even. You know,
Yeah.
nothing rocks him. I
Okay.
mean, it could all just everything could just be on fire, and he's gonna be
Okay.
totally cool, calm, and
That
collected.
that
And
marching
so
band, that marching band, they got to get it.
he's, I mean, whew, but if you see him in front of them, those students,
Uh,
and in front of a band or an orchestra, he is fiery. I mean, he is, you know, he is so thorough and particular, and you know, he will nitpick us the smallest thing until it's right. And you're like, why is he nitpicking these few measures? Move on. And then you hear it in the entire piece when he puts it back together. Like, that's what he was trying to
Wow.
fix. That's what he was trying to clean. And so he is definitely a man of few words, but once you get it, if you strike the right nerve, he's extremely talkative. He
so
is extremely talkative and extremely passionate.
So I would say that if I was your student, you would be my favorite teacher because your energy is infectious. So tell me, in your teaching mode,
Sure.
how your children respond to you, or the young people respond to you. Because I bet you they be trying to hang out and everything else.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I taught in the classroom for 9 years as a choral director. I was a head choir director for 9 years, a piano accompanist. I did a lot with show choir and uh, concert choir, high school students and early college students. I have elementary experience as well. But I am a youthful and bright, fun, energetic Spirit. If it's not fun for me, it's not going to be fun for the students, you know. And so I try to take what it is I know that you gotta know
Hmm.
and you have to learn, um, and I try to put that in a very palatable way. You know, I create songs. I mean, all types of stuff. You know, when I taught in high school, the last school that I taught at, I call those students. They became really part of my family. Their parents, those students, because we were always together, like you said. I couldn't get these kids out of my classroom. Not only that, they weren't never old enough to come to some of the shows that I had at certain like jazz um, establishments and things of that sort. And their parents would show up deep, and I'm like, I cannot escape anybody, you know. And it
Right.
wasn't in a bad way. They just became part of my family, you know. They just, and still now, I remember when my husband and I were dating. I said, okay, I'm a package deal. All right, I've got like 100 and something kids. Like every school that I come from, you know, they follow me on social media. Not just that, but now they're all old enough. They show up to the concerts, whether it's church, you know, the opera, wherever. They're there. They show up, and a lot of them have also gone into music education or arts administration or audio engineering. That is just our legacy. And so, also when I met him, he said, "As long as you're okay with me having about 200 or 300 kids, band kids, it's the same. It's our lifestyle." So,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know, I will say that I do have a lot of kids. They do follow me around a lot, you know.
So
Um, but it's just to be a mentor and a positive energy. Kids are going through a lot nowadays, and they just
yeah.
need that grace. They need somebody to love on them. The parents, you know, they also need another co-parent to help them with their kid and help them
Hmm.
navigate. So it's just an honor to do so. It's just been an
So
honor now to, yeah.
So let me ask you, both Robert Earl Dean and I, I'm a retired educator after 39
Awesome.
years, and Robert is still in education, so we understand the whole connectedness with young people. My
Yeah.
question to you is, how do you, being a mother of two, wife of one, with a booming career, your husband has a booming career, how do you guys get alone time, and how do you all self care?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, we have to schedule it. We have to make it a priority. We really, really have to make it a priority. And so, for he and I, you know, Sundays and the weekends, we prioritize as sacred. Like, this is sacred space. This is, unless it's, some huge, enormous event that he has to be at, a competition or something, or I have to be at. We're taking the kids along with us. Like, we're all there supporting dad. We're all there supporting mom. And then on Sundays, obviously, the Lord's Day, we're all making sure that we're together. I don't really take um, things on the weekend that can take me away from my family. With my daughters, I'm an entrepreneur. So in the education side of what I do, I've had to segue out of the traditional 9 to 5, seven, well, not 9 to 5 in the classroom, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
in a classroom. With my daughters, and that is what inspired me to start the India Urban Youth Music Academy in 2018. So I have been removed, I will say, from the traditional 7 to the all day process with being in the classroom, so that I could have that time with my daughters. I still do pickups, I still do drop offs. I am at all of their events because it's a priority for me to be in my daughter's life. And like I said, for my husband and I, we just make it a priority. We have to schedule the time. We say, okay, in 2 weeks, you got to pocket the time. All right, this is our time. We hit up the nanny. Can you watch the kids for a few hours? And that is our, time to just be together. As far as self-care, I am, I don't want to say that I'm a glamazon, but I'm a slight glamazon.
Mm-hmm.
And I pack in, like, when I'm going to get my hair or my nails or whatever, like, that's my part of my self-care time. Like, to just unwind. I don't have any kids. I don't have my husband. I don't have to worry about anybody but myself. And then I make sure that I find time like this on Fridays in the morning, that I have just personal time to myself. So that's pretty much how I, squeeze it in. And also, I allow my husband to do the same. I tell him, take some time, go
Mm-hmm.
take some days, to just relax and just unplug, because we have to be fresh for each other. We have to be fresh for our students, and we have to be fresh for our kids. So that's kind of what we do.
Growing up, who were some of
hmm
your musical influences? Because when I first heard your song, who do you think I thought you were?
I I don't know. I'm
Jill
not
Jill
sure.
Scott,
Really?
and she's from the
I'll
arts.
have to
Remember,
listen to Jill Scott now.
she's been trained opera too. Remember, so you guys
Oh,
have similar upbringings in the arts and
awesome.
different things.
Awesome. I actually did not know that Jill Scott was operatically trained. That is awesome. I did not know that. Growing up, I was the musician in my father's church. Um, and it's funny because it wasn't initially by choice. It was, I was tinkling around the piano and, hey, we need a musician. We're going to cultivate that gift in you.
Right.
And so initially, I listened to a ton of Aretha Franklin
I was
because
gonna
my
say
father
Aretha
was like, I want to show you women who play
and
the
sing.
piano and play the organ as well. And
Hmm.
so, because initially I didn't want to play, so I'm like, I don't see any women doing this.
Hmm.
And so I listened to a lot of Aretha Franklin. I listened to a lot of Kim Burrell. I listened to a lot of Twinkie Clark. I
Hmm.
listened to a lot of Olita Adams,
Hmm.
women who played and sang the piano initially, just a ton studying those records. And then as I got used to playing and singing, I wanted to develop my voice more. So it got into CeCe Winans and Yolanda Adams, Whitney Houston, Ella Fitzgerald. I mean,
Hmm.
just a ton just of musical influences that my parents exposed me to. And even growing up in the Holiness Church, they never taught us that music was evil, that it came from God. And it is us as humans who take the content and pervert or misconstrue
Yes,
content.
ma'am.
But all creativity and the natural innate human ability to express comes from God. We don't teach a baby to clap, the baby starts clapping. We don't
Hmm.
teach a baby to dance or sing. The baby does that coming out of the womb. And
Hmm.
so that comes from God. And so we pervert and do crazy stuff to it. But my family allowed me to listen to all types of music. I'm really, really eclectic. But those are my early influences. I really love Aretha Franklin. I mean, oh man, that she is
Wow.
one of my tops for me. And as I go on, I definitely do love Jill Scott. And I listen to a lot of her and Heather Headley and
Oh
that
God.
same, you know, I just love listening to all types of singers
Them are
and music.
tones. You listen to women with
Yes,
good tones. Olita
yes,
Adams,
yes,
tones.
yes, yes.
So
And the low ranges, I listen to
Hmm.
women of all different ranges because I think sometimes we get locked into what the female sound or the voice should sound like.
Yes.
And so while I was discovering my sound, I listened to a ton of different artists so I wouldn't get locked into copying somebody,
Hmm.
and I could develop myself and develop my tone. But those are some of my early
Now,
influences, and even now, those are some artists I still love. Shoot.
Wow.
now I gotta ask this question. Just this my curiosity. There's a song out there called "Try Jesus, but Don't Try Me." Uh, back in the day, was you known as a saved, sanctified, anointed sister, but you had hands?
Ah, I had no hands. You know what? It's funny because if I stood up, I am 6 foot. I am 6 foot.
Oh wow.
And I think growing up, I don't think nobody just wanted to run up on me just for that reason. I'm six
Mhm.
foot. But I am truly a gentle giant. I ain't never thrown no hands at nobody. I ain't
What?
never had hands on nobody. I ain't never put no hands on nobody. Let me tell you something. Nope. I'll
Unless
let
you
you
was
have it
praying
though.
for him, huh?
I was praying for you, but I'll let you have it though. You roll up on me, I'll let you have it. But that takes a lot, to really get me to that place. I really do not. I'm just not a angry person. But no, I ain't never had to hit nobody, and I ain't gonna start hitting nobody either.
What them
Amen. So
PAW ones can fight
yeah,
though. I
that's
know
what
they can.
that's what I'm
The
saying.
Pentecostal
Listen,
ones.
Yeah. So
well,
let
I was not fighting. Maybe I
so
wasn't a true PAW,
so so
but
so let me
I was not WWE. I was just PAW.
Come
I'm
yeah,
on.
telling you,
yeah.
I
So
didn't put no hands on nobody.
That's all right.
let me ask this question in the sense of your musical background and all that you've done. What was the one significant thing that took place in your life that you knew you were on the right track?
Ooh, that is such a
And
good question.
I'm gonna piggyback with that. In the song, you said when you was in Dallas and you said you weren't gonna cry, and so
Oh yeah.
I want you to connect those two together.
Oh man. That is such a good question. Uh, I'm trying to think of one of the most impactful moments that I was just like, oh my gosh, like I am here and this is happening. Um, I would say I've had at least two of those moments. I was
Okay,
gonna say three, but for sure two of those
go on
moments.
with the Trinity. Go on with the Trinity. It's
Go
all
with the
right.
Trinity.
Yeah.
um, I think as you go through different stages in your life, God gives you um, a foreshadowing, if you will, of why you may be going through certain things or why you're experiencing certain things. And if I could go from maybe my teen years to my 20s to now my 30s, I've had an impactful event that has happened every time. It's kind of been like a thread to connecting um, things together. And even like you said, that will even bring me to why I said I cried in Dallas and I this and that. As a teenager, because I was so different, um, I was and this is part of just my testimony and even something that I share with young girls, is that I was tall. I didn't feel comfortable in myself.
Hmm.
I loved to sing. I was extremely gifted. And I just felt awkward and out of place. And then when I went to other places that I thought would embrace me, um, musically, like in high school, I was not embraced. I was in a predominantly um, white school,
Hmm.
and I was the only, uh, I would say it was definitely under five African American people in the entire arts program.
Wow.
Uh, and I was looking up to teachers due to their pedigree and what they could do because I saw myself in them, and not in as far as race. I'm
Right.
saying as far as what their career and what they were doing, and
Hmm.
I really wanted to do that. And I didn't see or have anybody of color that I knew was in the field.
Wow.
And when I at the time, um, and so I got all of my music from church and from family and
Hmm.
from listening to those artists that I told you about.
Hmm.
Um, and I had a piano teacher and all of that. And um, I was heavily discouraged. I mean, I was told to find another major. I was told that I would not succeed in the field. I was told I was denied any type of solo, any type of honor choir, anything, because
Wow.
one, I would be the little tall. I'll be the only little black speck. So even if I was the same height as everybody else, I would have stood out. But I also have been the 6 foot black speck in the you know, on the stage.
Right.
So I was heavily discouraged, or I was put in the back, put in the side, whatever.
Wow.
And so that really took a toll on me. I had an Italian opera coach. My father was so dedicated, and my mother was so dedicated to making sure that I felt affirmed in the field. They found a vocal coach who came up to them after the school talent show. I had won the school talent show. So you have all this going on in the choir department. Then I had won the school talent show. And she came up to me. She was an international Italian opera vocal coach.
Wow.
She came up to me and she said, I want to train your daughter for free. She trained me, prepared me for college. And so that was like a God showing me. I wanted to give up. I quit choir, I quit music, all of that. I was like, I'm just going to take a music theory class. I ain't going to, and she came, and that was like the first, like, okay, like, so this is happening here, but then this is happening here. Okay, it was like a gleam of hope. So she trained me. She prepared me for college. Like I said, I got 8 full ride scholarships offered me for a career that I was told that I shouldn't be in, I wouldn't succeed in.
Right.
Um, so that was like the first.
Where'd you go to
Okay.
college?
Yeah, I went to Marion University in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay.
And so that was the first thing. That was the choice the school that I picked. And then at the same time, 3 months after that, I got picked to go perform on the Apollo Theater stage in New York.
Wow.
So that was like the first thing that happened in my life that I was like, okay, God, I'm going to do what you say. I'm not going to give up. I would say that the second thing and was, actually not music related. It was when I had my daughter. When I had my oldest daughter, Charity. She taught me how to believe in myself again. She taught me how to, affirm myself. She was like the blessing that came out of nowhere, that God used that situation and what happened in that situation. We don't got enough time to tell all the testimonies.
Right.
To birth out. I mean, I stopped singing. I stopped everything. I was just teaching, but I wasn't interested in performing any longer. I wasn't interested in doing that. And, for the sake of time, my voice was silenced, if that makes sense. But she taught me how to sing again, because I was singing to her all the time.
She was
And
practicing.
so that was the second event. Yeah, that was the second event that happened that inspired me to sing again, was my own daughter. And what pushed me to get back in the third event that pushed me to get back into ministry again was watching how diligent my husband served in ministry.
Wow.
And, some people serve in ministry and they expect a paycheck. I'm not saying don't get paid for what you do now, saints. Right. Now, look, a servant is worth honor, yes. Right? Right. And I have been able to be blessed by ministries who have paid me for my services as a vocal coach or as a musician or what have you. And when I met him and I saw how much he worked and how he was working in church, I just assumed he was paid. He's moving and doing. And when we got talking, he was, and it's funny because I'm sharing this and this feels so conversational that I'm forgetting, like, oh, there are other people watching this. Like he doesn't tell people, go around and tell people he's not paid. I guess I just leaked it out. But and they've offered, but he will not, because he is doing it for the Lord. And so when I saw the way that he served people and loved people and studied and was so as equally as thorough as he was in the classroom and before his orchestra, his band, as he was for the people of God, it ignited a fire in me that I can't even explain.
Yeah, that's very powerful, because one of the things that you're saying is that resonates true with my dear brother, Dr. Robert Earl Dean. He is at our church, and he said no, that's his reasonable service, and he serves, in the praise and worship and the choir as a choir director and everything else that nature. And you would think he was getting paid by his faithfulness. He will have a gig outside of San Diego, and like I got to be back on Sunday because
Yeah,
my people are there. So we do
that's how I,
understand that.
Hmm. I was
yeah.
listening, and your song. It's funny how God has always worked with me. When I wake up in the mornings, certain songs are in my mind, ministry wise, and he'll when I get here, he'll say, "What song you want to hear?" He'll hear me humming something when I'm getting coffee or tea. But your song, yes, it plays in my head all the time.
Wow.
Your
To God.
song is so powerful, and God had you do it at this time because your music and voice is fresh for gospel. You don't sound like anybody else. You have the jazz thing, but you have the gospel anointed thing as well. So
Ooh,
you can do jazz festivals, you can do conferences, you can do anything you want to do with that song and with your voice.
yes, absolutely. And to God be the glory. I really, um, I'm moved. I'm just so moved because, I didn't do this because, there's a lot of vanity in artistry.
Yes, it is.
You have to look a certain way. You have
Mm-hmm.
to keep your image and your brand and your this and your
Right.
that. And, and I understand all of that, obviously from, being on, uh, the other side of the tracks, as you will, in singing and releasing. I have jazz music that I've released, funk, soul music, classical music that I've released.
Wow.
And, um, so I know all about that, just the branding side of it. And there's a lot of that in artistry. But what uh, attracts me to, uh, they say the safest places in the will of God
Yes.
is that, you know, the brand is a byproduct of what God has actually called me to do. And what I mean by that is that I feel like it's secondary, it's something that's on my mind, but what really impacts me to do what I'm doing is to hear the responses like what you just shared with me, about the song and about the music. And I've received so many responses and inboxes,
Hmm.
about the song, and I'm like, it's amazing to me because, even in writing new material and presenting new material, and uh, there were three songs that I pulled back from that time in my life that I wrote that were so simple and that were so simplistic, and it was about the artistry, but also more of the message of what God was saying through me as a teenager at that time. I didn't have a husband, I didn't have kids, I didn't have all the extra stuff. It was just I was a conduit of what God wanted to say. And so that's what I love so much about doing this is the responses, and people are touched and that they're ministered and that they've got a little extra pep in their step to get through the day, or that they know that they've got hope, or that they know that, that God exists and that he loves them, and that there was a sacrifice that was made for them. And so ultimately that they come across it. And, it doesn't sound like the traditional, squall, but I can squall,
Oh, I know.
but
I
that
saw you
might not be
live.
how.
I saw your
It
live
might not be
presentation.
it. Yeah. That
Your
might
live
not be how God
presentation, you gave
the
us all of
word,
it. That when you
you
did
know.
Yes Live, you gave us the classical smoothness. And towards the end, you took us straight to church. I said, "Come on through,
It's gonna
sister."
come out. I can't turn it off. Even when I was doing the jazz, I called my early like tours and like performance, stretches. I called them the soul revival
Hmm.
because when you come to a show of mine, you are going to hear the artistry, but there's gospel in it, and you're going to feel encouraged. You're going to feel like you came to a church service.
Yes.
Talk about Jesus up in here. So I just want to be able to reach people who may not, uh, uh, naturally think that they're going to turn on a gospel station or a gospel artist. And it's
So,
not even that I'm doing that intentional. They're drawn to my sound, and there's a positive message. There's the message of love, of hope, and that Jesus loves them. Man, he just wants a yes from me. He don't want nothing else. He just want a yes.
okay, so I gotta ask this question because it's just in me to ask the question. Um, the question comes in is, will we ever see a family collaboration with Bradford and Winton and you and your husband all on one track? Will we ever
That would
see?
be really amazing. Oh my
I want to
gosh.
see him on
That,
stage.
that would be amazing. Speak that on into existence. I don't think we're too far from that. I don't think we're
Okay.
too far from that. Now, Winton's big time.
And
Well,
you are
Winton's
too.
touring. He is big, but he's big. I think I'm big time, but he big. He got roots, in the industry, and so I don't think we're too far from that.
okay.
I don't think so. I don't
So,
think that we are. My husband's an arranger, and he's actually arranged musically songs on my new album. So you're not gonna see him on stage get up there and perform. He'd be like, no, 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 no.
hold on,
But
hold on,
Wow.
you'll feel him in the
hold on, because this is what I see. In my spirit, man, this is what I see.
Now you're getting deep.
It
prophesy.
is a big orchestra that your husband's conducting, and
Yeah, he would.
the special guest will be Wynton and Bradford. You know what I'm saying? And y'all would all get on there. I don't know if it's gonna be some big symphony concert or whatever. But I just want to let you know that I looked at our playlist, and we don't get to determine as on air personalities what songs go into heavy rotation. We can say what we like and we can play what we like, but we as a media based station we get reports, and somehow some way you are number two played song on God radio according to media base, and so that
Oh
means that
wow.
our program director done gave you a thumbs up, and the way you going, I think you're gonna wind up in number one spot next week. But I want you to
Well,
come
keep
back.
it up there. I love to. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Just that's all. I'm glad that people are enjoying the song. I really, truly am, and that it's ministering to them. That really lights me up. You know,
Well, your song has lit us up, and Robert knows that when we like a song, we play it to death. And the funny thing about it is, they're evergreen songs, and I really believe that this is going to be one of those
Mm-hmm.
evergreen songs that people will play for years and years to come because it's so rich and it's so authentic, and now us meeting you and realizing that you just a homegirl that's 6'2", I mean six
6 feet.
one, I mean 6 feet, and
two
this beautiful black sister who's a wife of one and a mother of two. I think that people now are going like, okay, we got to push. We got to push it to that number one spot because we need our other young chocolate babies to see this beautiful sister in what she has done in this season.
thank you so much. That truly means a lot to me. I'm making sure that I am coming out and talking and telling my story
Mm-hmm.
and just sharing not just my story, but just the goodness of God. Just
Yes.
the goodness of God. He's so faithful.
Yes,
He's
he
so
is.
good. And I think that's just most of the energy that you feel from me, no matter what's going on. We have ups and downs and valleys
Yes.
and mountains in our life of good and exceptional and awards and all of that, but then also of things that we didn't gone through. And I'm just merely someone who just wants to testify and say that God has been so good to me, and I'm grateful that people are enjoying the music, that they're enjoying the ministry, which is again just a byproduct, like I was sharing, of just my testimony and my heart's service to the Lord. And so um, I just appreciate that. And hey, when y'all get that number one, tag me, let me know. I'm telling my followers, telling my people, let them know that I was down at God Radio San Diego, and they got me on the number one spot. So who else gonna match them over here in Atlanta? Who else gonna match them over here in New York? Because
Come
I get
on.
a lot
See,
of
see,
response out the song. But let's see who because they got it number one first. So let's see, baby. Let's see
Come
what's
on.
going on.
the reason why
Oh,
they be hating on us because we're one internet station that's heard in 71 countries. We got tremendous following, but we actually have on airs in Atlanta, in Texas, all over the country that are original
awesome.
programming for our show. So we operate like a terrestrial station in an internet format. And so when you get on this station, you're not just being heard in Americas, but you being heard in the Londons and the Africas and all over.
That's
You got Liberia on right now. Checking
awesome.
it
Hey,
out. So
like,
we are doing it.
I'm growing.
I have one more question.
Absolutely.
How do you preserve your voice, being gospel and then being jazz? Because you know the choir teachers in high school be like, "You've been singing gospel this week because you came
Right.
to choir practice, and you shouldn't be singing that music." How do you preserve your voice?
Absolutely. That is such a good question and a good point that you brought up because, that is something that's often shared. You can't sing, what we call commercial genres, not just gospel, but pop and rock and these other genres
Hmm.
because of the perceived wear and tear on the voice. You
Right.
can sing any genre, even classical, and your voice could be tore up. It's about, uh, like you were saying, the vocal health and the vocal hygiene. The key thing is you have to take vocal rest no matter what genre you are singing, you have to take vocal rest. And for me, vocal rest there's levels to vocal rest. Absolute vocal rest means I'm not talking. I'm not on the phone. I'm not talking at all.
Hmm.
I'm texting. I don't talk after 7. Like I got my family trained, y'all. Listen, I got my family and my parents. Don't call after 9. She ain't gonna answer that phone. Don't during heavy seasons when I have to talk or sing or speak or just be using my voice. I go on what's called absolute vocal rest. Like I'm not talking at all. Then you can go on like a little mid-level vocal rest, and I would say that that is something where you're on 3 days, off 4 days, with practicing and singing. You space out when you're going to rehearse and when you're not going to rehearse. And then there's like a mild vocal rest, like if you have heavy days where you have to speak and you have to teach and all that, find pockets of time that you don't have to talk. You don't got to talk all day. We just be talk, and run around mouth. So that's one thing that I do is I take vocal rest and physical rest very seriously. I go to sleep, get your rest.
Yes.
Um, Water, no caffeine. I don't drink any coffee. I don't drink any green tea. I drink no caffeine. I don't drink any sodas. I drink water or I drink herbal teas,
Hmm.
cold herbal teas, warm herbal teas. I do like fresh juices and things of that sort, but I avoid anything that's caffeinated, anything that's heavily artificially sugared. Because sugar produces a lot of mucus. People think just dairy, but sugar produces a whole lot of mucus,
Hmm.
those are things that I do. Two of the biggest things. I mean, we can go down a whole gambit of things, but I go to sleep and I drink my water. And the last thing is mind your business. If you go to sleep, you drink your water, and you mind your business, then not only we have vocal rest, but you'll have mental rest. You'll feel great.
Yeah.
So those are the three things that I do to preserve my
Well,
voice.
well,
She's on
Bring
to
it back.
something.
well.
She's on because
You know,
Yolanda Adams sleeps all the time. She taught me that. She said when you're traveling and much as she does, she said that talking because people
yeah.
don't realize that it's more damage to talk horse than it is to sing horse.
Correct, because as a vocalist, our instrument is the voice,
Hmm.
and so similar to someone who's a saxophonist or something like
Hmm.
that, you can play your instrument, put it back in the case, and you don't have to touch it. But as a singer, I'm speaking with my instrument, I'm singing with my instrument,
Hmm.
so that's why vocal rest is so important and physical rest. I'm quick to take a nap. If I don't got nothing to
Yeah.
do, nap on the schedule. You know what I mean? Well, especially when I have busy weeks, for sure you have to rest your body, your mind, because if the body is tense and the mind is tense, the voice is going to be tense, even when you're speaking. So that
Well,
is absolutely correct. And shout out to Alana Adams. I love her.
well. With that being
Good job,
said,
Professor.
well, with that being said, that helps me out. I need to stop drinking coffee because I drink a couple of cups a
Every
day.
morning.
Trying to get my voice. If I'm gonna try to get my voice right, I got to get more rest. 'Cause I only sleep about 4 hours a day,
Go to sleep.
and I got to go to sleep. And I gotta sometimes just be quiet. Because I'm trying to see if I get Leonard and the Leonardettes to get back together, and we get a duet with you. But
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna work on it.
She's a
But
prayer warrior.
first of all,
She
don't you come
has
for
she
me
has
this morning.
discernment.
Don't you come for me this morning. I'm
Praise
trying.
him.
She's giving me some things to help me with my voice. Praise the Lord.
Right. Your quiet
Shh.
Try
voice.
to boost it up. Try to get 4 hours of sleep. Try to find a pocket of, and it doesn't have to be. I think people think it has to be a hard like hour. Those other 2 hours, find like a moment of rest. Just maybe just vocal rest
Mhm.
with 1 hour, and then maybe find some pockets of 20 minutes or 30 minutes to just be silent. That is also rest your mind and all of that.
Amen.
My husband, he sleeps like that, 4 to 6 hours. If he
Mhm.
gets 6 hours, it's a good night. But
Yeah.
he goes to sleep, but sometimes his mind is just working, and so
Exactly.
he finds moments to just sit and be still. And I do not bother him because I know that that is part of rest. So if you can find moments like that, just sit and be still.
Yeah.
Just
Our
You know,
program
that's
our program director said that our heavy rotation on of her hits so early is setting up the trend. Others are getting on it early and they're spinning it more. So we're trying to
yeah,
push the trend since we're on panels
absolutely.
that this is the song that should be making to break the top 10 and into the number one spot on Billboard. So we're going to keep on pushing it. Again, it's not, and I want to say this to anybody. She hasn't taken out a promotional package
Nope.
with us. She hadn't asked us to do any of this.
Nope.
Y'all know how we are. When we find a song
We like
and
it.
our program director says that check this out, and we feel it, it gets played in rotation. You guys feel it. We play it in rotation. This is a natural, organic happening. We just need y'all to keep on sharing it and spinning it. Now, just tell us how can people connect with you, and then
Sure.
introduce the song.
Absolutely. So you can connect with me on social media, Instagram, Facebook. I am on there as Kim Kinney Voice Studio. Instagram is the best place to connect with me. Facebook, I've just started my Facebook, so it ain't really hitting like my Instagram is hitting.
Mhm.
But that's the best place to follow me. You can get on my website, kimkinneyllc.com. And those are the ways to just connect with me. And introducing the song, y'all. This song, I pray that it continues to inspire you, that it continues to bless you, that it continues to resonate with you, and that you help us push it to the number one spot, baby. So this is Yes by yours truly, Kim Kinney Green.
Okay, and Kim, the last question, because people are texting me and they all doing all kind of things right now. They want to know any genre of music. What are your two favorite songs ever?
Oh man, I don't know that I have two favorite. Okay, let me think. Um, I would say my actual two favorite genres is gospel and jazz.
Mm-hmm.
That was hard to say because I'm like classical, and I really do love classical music, but I'm kind of lumping jazz and classical together as a hybrid. Um, I don't have a favorite song because I love tons of songs. Um, I don't have a
Well,
favorite
why don't we
song
do it?
right now.
What are your two favorite songs as of today, right now, in this
As of
moment?
today, as of today, in this moment, um,
First
my
one
two
be
favorite
first one be
songs.
yes.
Yes, I would say yes. Number one.
Right.
And the second song is, I really love Aretha Franklin, y'all. I love Natural Woman. That is a great song.
Yeah.
If we were on the gospel station, I'll turn this piano on right now and start playing that. But that is a song that I love. Um, that is a song that is another song that I love today, right
Okay.
now, in this season, right
Now,
now.
now, are you in your studio at your keyboard?
I am in my studio at my keyboard.
Is your
I,
keyboard turned on?
look, we keep it
It
hot and ready
stays
like a
on.
Oh, oh, oh.
baby. We keep it hot and ready.
Will,
I'll sing a little bit of yes for y'all right now.
yeah,
Please.
yeah, yes, yes.
Voice ain't warmed up. Get the voice warmed up a little bit. I'll just sing a little bit, just a
Okay.
chorus. Woo! There it is. There we go. Just sing it. Can y'all hear it okay? The piano
Yeah.
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
Okay. There's a story of a man who came to save the dry and barren land.
It's phasing her out. You know what? You got on your phone. It has a compression. So when you hit a certain volume, it compresses you all the way down. So
Oh,
we're gonna play it live, and then
play it live.
when we
Right.
get
I'll
you,
put live for y'all another day.
yeah, and when we get you here in San Diego, then they get to experience you
Her
live.
her and Aretha Scruggs
Yeah,
have similar stories. They're both voice teachers.
exactly.
They're both jazz artists. It's crazy.
Okay, I'm trying to end this interview, but they getting on my nerves on social media. They want to know, will you be coming out with a Christmas project?
Oh, absolutely, y'all. Do you want me to just leak my whole content calendar right now? Absolutely, I'm doing a Christmas album this year, and
Uh-huh.
I released a song, re-released a song last year. It's called Mistletoe,
Uh-huh.
uh, and it is available. It's on iTunes and Spotify and everything right now. But I am doing a Christian, a gospel soul album. I actually released a song today called "Were You There," which, in light of the Easter season, and releasing a music video and performance video next week of "Were You There" and "Because He Lives" with a great friend of mine. His name is Jay Tillman, out of Austin, Texas. So, but yes,
Okay, so
I am doing an album and a
our
song.
program director got her jaws tight. She said, "When are you sending it?" Because she said, we the first station that need to be playing it hard.
Okay, I will send it. Yes, it's still my primary single. I'm just releasing content, releasing music for the season, and just to continue to encourage people. But I will send that when we get off of this interview. I will send it right over. But it's
All right,
out right now. There,
all
it's
right.
just voice organ only.
Well, I tell you, this has
It's
been
awesome.
a great interview. We love
Yes.
you. Tell your husband much respect. Tell your
Ab-
children we love them. Kim
Absolutely.
Kinney, you have friends here in the city of San Diego and around the world. God Radio 1. Y'all, we've been playing it for a minute now. Y'all check it out. This is Kim Kinney Green. The song is called Yes, right here on God Radio 1.
.com.